Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from RicoScores, and it looks like the trend of drafting the most athletic player available continues. Not necessarily best player available, most athletic player available. Not BPA, but MAPA. Most athletic player available. We just drafted William Bradley King with the 240th pick, and another freak athlete, man. Scored a 9.18 on his RAS, his relative athletic score, which is ranked 114 out of 1,371 defensive ends drafted since 1987. And y'all gonna keep hearing these RAS scores because that's just the best way to get across how athletic guys are. Because it's relative. That's part of that's the R in RAS, relative. So if you run a 4.6 as a corner, that's nowhere near as good as running a 4.6 as a defensive end. You see what I'm saying? It's relative, and right now it's honestly one of the best systems to really judge how athletic guys are. He has a 9.18, the trend of drafting 9s or higher. He's poor in size, and we're going to get to that because I really feel like he's a 3-4 outside linebacker more than the defensive end. But I'm going to talk about why that actually can fit what we're trying to do, especially Jack the Real with some of the stuff he was getting creative with. We're going to get to that. But he's great in explosion, great in speed, and great in agility, according to the RAS. Another athletic freak, another developmental, high potential, high ceiling type of guy. Again, first of all, we needed depth. We needed edge rusher depth. We've been talking about this for weeks. I mean, I would still like to bring Ryan Kerrigan back on a very, very cheap deal. Nowhere near as much money as he was making last year. But at the end of the day, we still needed edge rusher depth. It's literally Chase Young, Montez Sweat, James Smith-Williams, who's interchangeable. He could play interior or outside. He's not even a pure just defensive end or outside linebacker at all. Then you have Khaleke Hudson, who I feel like is more of an off-ball outside linebacker, but maybe he could step up and try to play on the line a little bit more. Maybe play the Sam in some 3-4 under or something like that. But this William Bradley King guy is straight up outside linebacker, pass rusher, defensive end. Again, he's a little undersized for defensive end, but he's a crazy athlete and you can make it work. A guy to develop, get him in the NFL gym, get him in the NFL workout program. You can add some weight to him. And that's what the biggest problem is, because his height is in yellow, his weight is in red. His weight is the biggest problem. He's 6'3", 254 pounds. And it's crazy that that's undersized, but if you're gonna play straight up defensive end, that's undersized. If you're playing 3-4 outside linebacker, that's good. But 6'3", 254 with the Chase Youngs who's out here being 265 pounds. Nick Bosa's 267. Montez Sweat is 262. You wanna be in that 260 range. Again, it's not like alarmingly smaller, only about 10 pounds lighter, but you know, that can be a big difference when it comes to play on the field. But I'm gonna do a deep dive into his film a little bit more, but based off of what I've seen, that explosiveness, that athleticism, he's able to turn that type of explosion and speed into power, which helps a lot. And he didn't do bench reps, so we don't exactly know how strong he is just straight arms, but he knows how to take his momentum and leverage and speed and turn that into power. Not overwhelming Chase Young, Montez Sweat power, but definitely good. Definitely more than enough for what he needs. He also has a strong punch, engages very well. He knows what to do with his hands for the most part. Pretty inconsistent, but he's not wild. He's not extremely raw. He has great effort. He'll pursue from behind. I mean, he's out there playing with his heart out there. I'm pretty sure one of the main reasons that Ron Rivera took him. Again, high character, athleticism, and versatility. This guy doesn't exactly put a check mark next to the versatility box, but he's definitely high character and freak athlete. And he's even like fluid enough in open space. If you need him to make an open field tackle, he's actually pretty fluid, especially for somebody his size. He's actually pretty agile, as you saw by his great agile grade according to his RAS. He has pretty good balance. Not great. He has an explosive first step. I mean, his explosion grade is great according to RAS, based off of his vert and his broad jump. 34.5 vert, 911 broad jump. And like the way he's built, he has a frame to where you can add more muscle to him, definitely. He has the type of build to where if you want him to, he can add muscle. And I'm not worried about him being a little undersized because what I was foreshadowing a little bit earlier, Jack Del Rio showed towards the end of the season that he really wants to try to run some 5 defensive lineman sets where he has 5 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, and 4 DBs. He started to use some of it going later into the season, and used it quite a bit against the Buccaneers, and it was actually relatively successful pretty consistently against the Buccaneers. They were actually able to generate some of their best pressure against the Buccaneers in that 5 defensive alignment. And now with a William Jackson, who's just a lockdown corner, and with Jamin Davis, who's that freak linebacker that we've been waiting for forever. I'm definitely thinking Jamin Davis is going to be the best linebacker we've had easily since London Fletcher, and he has far more athleticism than London Fletcher, but London Fletcher was just one of the smartest football players you've ever seen play the game. So who knows if Jamin Davis will be able to reach that mentally, but physically, he's probably the most athletic guy we've thrown out there as an off-ball linebacker since LeVar Arrington. You can argue he may be more athletic than that. I mean, he's a freak. But with these guys that we've recently picked up, William Jackson and Jamin Davis, it gives us much more flexibility and the freedom to run 5 defensive linemen. With only 2 linebackers out there, we finally have the linebackers that can cover a lot of ground and make plays in the wide open space. They don't need 3 out there, only 2. And we also have William Jackson, who's a lockdown corner, can literally shut down one half of the field and everybody else worry about the other half. So I know Jack Del Rio's loving this draft. And oh man, before I could even chill out and finish this video, we went and drafted another defensive end. And I'm not gonna lie, we did need depth here. This makes getting Ryan Kerrigan even less likely, but we did need depth at defensive end. We've been saying that. I was saying, you know, you could probably get some guys as undrafted free agents, but they feel like this was a bigger need than even I thought it was. So I'm not surprised, but this is kind of crazy. And of course, we ain't even gotta do I even need to tell y'all how athletic this new pick is? Shaka Toney from Penn State took him with the 246th pick overall and 9.47, even more athletic than William Bradley King, who I was just talking about. Again, just like William Bradley King, undersized. He's actually even more undersized, but he's more explosive than William Bradley King. William Bradley King is great as far as his RAS. Shaka Toney is elite. He's also faster than William Bradley King, who had a great speed grade. Shaka Toney has an elite speed grade. And then they both have great agility grades. Again, highly athletic. I mean, it's ridiculous how athletic this guy is. Another just most athletic player available pick. Not necessarily best player available, but most athletic player available. MAPA, MAPA. That's what our strategy was this whole draft, MAPA. That needs to be a hashtag, MAPA. Not BPA, MAPA. And yeah, he's 6'2.5" and 242 pounds. So the distance going from Chase Young to William Bradley King is that same distance going from William Bradley King to Shaka Toney. That's why he's crazy undersized. And he definitely projects better as a 3-4 outside linebacker. But again, like I explained with William Bradley King, Jack Del Rio can make that work because he wants to run 5 defensive linemen any chance that he can. And you can argue that Shaka Toney has higher upside than William Bradley King, but William Bradley King comes with a higher floor. And with us needing depth on edge rusher, I felt like we could have possibly have gotten some guys as undrafted free agents, maybe even potentially these guys, but they did not want to play about defensive end and edge rusher depth. I mean, you can see back-to-back picks, they are not playing with that. They weren't playing with the long snapper pick, and they're clearly not playing with defensive ends. Again, the fact that they took them back-to-back is wild. He's not much of a run stopper yet. Maybe he can develop into that, talking about Shaka Toney specifically. But he's already coming as a good pass rusher. I think honestly, pass rush wise, without Ryan Kerrigan re-signed, he's our 3rd best pass rusher on the roster already day 1. And for guys that are athletic freaks, developmental guys, high ceiling guys, William Bradley King and Shaka Toney, who better to learn behind than Chase Young and Montez Sweat? And to be a part of that rotation right there, like, come on, bro. They're going to get the best out of them. This coaching staff, even the other players like Chase Young and Montez Sweat, they're going to expect greatness out of them. They're going to be able to give them all of the advice that they need, not even just on the field and how to practice, how to work out and things like that, but even like, Chase Young, what are you eating, man? Like, how are you that big? How are you that freakishly athletic? What's your diet like? You know what I'm saying? Well, how early do you wake up in the morning? Little things like that. So I like Shaka Toney and William Bradley King being mentored by Chase Young and Montez Sweat, who are also very young. So it's like fresh on their minds exactly how they made the transition from college to NFL. It's not like we're sending a 12-year vet to try to teach them, where the game was slightly different back then. They can't remember vividly exactly how they did things when they first entered the league. You're talking to Chase Young, who's only going into his 2nd year, and Montez Sweat, who's going into his 3rd. And a lot of people as I'm looking right now, love the Shaka Toney pick. Like, outside of Burgundy and Gold Nation, he has some of the best bend in this class. Again, he projects as basically a situational pass rusher. Don't expect him to really set the edge firmly and contribute against the run. But on 3rd and longs, if Chase Young and Montez Sweat need to take a breather, this is the guy you send out there to go make a play. He is a pass rush specialist. You can't teach Ben. You can't teach his freakish athleticism. This is one of those guys where if we didn't have Chase Young or Montez Sweat and we were able to get a Shaka Toney this late in the draft, we would be super excited. We're just a little less excited, of course, because we already have 2 dominant defensive ends. But to get somebody with this much upside, again, you cannot teach that athleticism. You cannot teach that bend. This is actually a pretty good pick. And I'm definitely higher on Shaka Toney than William Bradley King. The thing with William Bradley King, though, is that he comes with a higher floor. He's definitely has a better chance to play on run stopping downs. He's more of an every down defensive end potentially. Shaka Toney's pretty much just going to be a situational pass rusher. But Shaka Toney is a better pass rusher than William Bradley King is anything else. William Bradley King is just a more complete guy right now. But Shaka Toney, with his frame, just like William Bradley King, you can possibly add more weight to him. I'm not exactly sure if you can add another 20 pounds to where he can get up there to Chase Young and Montez Sweat's weight, but you could definitely add some weight to him and maybe coach him up and turn him into an edge setter and a run stopper. Not entirely confident in that, but it's possible. But at the very least, you're getting one of the best pure pass rushers in this draft. Pretty raw, but again, you can't teach that bend. You can't teach that speed. You cannot teach that explosion. You cannot teach how fluid and flexible he is. You cannot teach his agility. You just can't. Right now, his favorite move is the chop, the drop. He tries to just, use his crazy bend to just go ahead and beat the offensive tackles to the outside. Like, that's his favorite move right now, but we're going to need him to add more than that. And he's also coming with a very high motor. I mean, one of the most high energy, giving it his all into the whistle blows guys in this draft. So that's that high character that Ron Rivera, Martin Mayhew, and all of these other guys love. And my favorite comp for him that I've seen so far, I'm going to dive deeper into his film, but he's looking basically like a Josh Sweat of the Philadelphia Eagles. That type of potential. Lance Zierlein of NFL Network compared him to O'Shane Ximines, and I liked him coming out of college, but I definitely prefer the Josh Sweat comparison. Like, Josh Sweat with maybe a little bit higher upside off the bench is crazy. That's pretty insane, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. I thought I was only gonna talk about William Bradley King, but then Shaka Toney got drafted while I was still recording, so I had to go look at a little bit of his film before I just came out here just babbling and trying to make stuff up, you know what I'm saying? Like I always said, I'm always gonna keep it a thou wow with y'all. So even though it seems like this video was smooth and just kept going through, I actually took like a quick little few minutes break in between to watch some Shaka Toney before I started talking about him. Never want to just go in blind when I'm talking about people and look crazy on the other end. I still need to watch more film on them, but I wanted to go ahead and get this video out because we also have another pick coming up, and I hope I can get this video edited and out before that pick is made, but I doubt it. So I'm working, y'all, and then after that pick comes out and I announce it, and then I finally finish editing and recording the review of the day 3 picks before the long snapper, Cheeseman, I'm gonna get that out to y'all as well, and I still gotta get the full draft breakdown, rounds 1 through 7, analysis grade for the overall draft grade for each position, and pros and cons for each player, potential, all of that type of stuff, and breaking down exactly what our draft strategy was. But y'all already know, athleticism, high character, and versatility. But yeah, man, stay tuned. A lot more content coming. Film sessions for each one of these players we draft also coming out, just leading up into training camp. They're not going to necessarily be back to back to back, but I'm starting with Jamin Davis and working my way down. Stay tuned for that. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.